Having taken Dr. Ross's class, we all know that boss teaching methods are the best for teaching in the classroom. But what we have not discussed are their role in coaching. Coaching, in many ways, is analogous to teaching. Just like teaching, coaches educate their players and have to manage their discipline. However, unlike teaching, coaches can say and do things to their players that would not be acceptable in today's classroom. As a former player and a future coach, I have seen firsthand the problems in most people's approaches to coaching, and I want to apply boss principles to address and fix these problems. Coaches often view degrading comments, yelling, and physical punishment as the only way to correct problem behavior on the field. Some examples of this are, "Take a lap! Are you kidding me? No one's that bad! You're uncoachable!" As a player, these comments often made me feel so bad I played worse following them. They also instilled in me a dislike for my coaches since the only feedback I was receiving from them was negative. As a teacher and coach, it is important to avoid CAR's, critical authoritarian remarks, and focus instead on CPB's, cooperative positive behavior. Team sports are based on cooperation, so to succeed as a team, CPBs are very important. Some examples of positive coaching feedback are, "Great catch! What a block! Way to execute the play!" If a coach uses CPBs and avoids CARs, he is creating a team environment focused on positive accomplishment, and he avoids the threat of his players resenting him for overusing punishment as a corrector. Use the acknowledgement of positive achievement to motivate your players to higher levels. This is much more effective than a normal technique of simply making them fear failure. It is important to praise the whole team for target behavior, but also be sure to acknowledge individual achievement when it occurs. "Good play, everyone, especially Ned. That block was great." Like that not only acknowledges the player's achievement, it acknowledges the whole squad and brings a special accolade to the target behavior. Ned is now much more likely to repeat this target behavior than if the coach only gave him feedback when he made a mistake. When punishment is the only feedback given, it can lead to punishment becoming a reinforcer, since children crave attention. The key is to make children crave positive attention instead of negative. It is also important to create an environment where players will self-acknowledge their peers for their CPBs. "Hey everyone, did you see Trey make that catch? It was awesome!" Statements like this create an environment where the coach is no longer the sole reinforcer of positive target behavior. Now the entire team participates in reinforcing CPBs. This is very beneficial as a coach will not be able to always see everyone's actions, and players will be much more motivated towards success if they know their teammates will give them the attention and praise they deserve for it. This can be carried a step further by asking players at the end of practice who exhibited good CPBs for that day. "Who can tell me some of the top plays by y'all today?" "Well, Scott had a broken tackle and a long run. Bob had a really good sack, and Justin got a pancake block." As a player, being acknowledged for a positive in front of the whole team is a very big deal. And having played football since I was 5, I can tell you that for most teams, this is a very rare occurrence. In my whole time playing football, I was acknowledged in front of the whole team only a handful of times. On the other hand, I can remember countless times where I was addressed with CARs by my coach in front of the entire team. "Hey everyone, Brigham can't remember the snap count, so now we're all going to do up downs." Not only are CARs normal in football coaching, it is common practice to punish the whole team for the mistakes made by one player. This creates an environment that encourages other players to direct CARs at the offending player in question. "Brigham, remember the dang snap count or you better watch yourself later." Situations like this are not only counterproductive, but can be dangerous to the singled out player. Current approaches to coaching are fundamentally flawed, but the boss principles can create a coaching environment much more suited to learning and the development for players. Furthermore, boss principles can make the environment safer and much more fun for the players involved. Instead of only receiving feedback in the form of CARs and punishment, players should receive praise for CPBs and should have negative behavior ignored. CPBs should be acknowledged in front of everyone, and the coach should encourage players to self-identify their peer CPBs. Many coaches will reject this approach because of their reliance on their personal folders. However, like we learned in class, one should rely on evidence-based practices instead of personal experiences. The evidence shows that boss principles are the most effective form of teaching technique, and coaching is really just a form of teaching of a sport. Therefore, the most effective coaching method, according to evidence-based practices, is the boss method.